Hello my witchy friends, welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you are a returning subscriber. My name is Sophie, I am the Midwest Magician, and week 1 of Vlogmas is here. We are getting into the winter mood as the season is settling in around us. It is crisp, it is cool, snowy, and quiet, and I'm leaning into all of the little moments that make December feel really magical. So I'd like to invite you to ease into it with me and see where this first week takes us. I personally love waking up the winter season and welcoming it in with a simmer pot. Today I am using the orange slices that were either a little bit too thick or a little too broken to dry in the oven. I'm also using some cinnamon sticks, lemon, lime. I'm throwing in some clove and nutmeg, as well as a sliced apple, as well as a couple of sprigs of rosemary from my garden this summer. Usually I do have cranberries in the mix as well, but today we're working with what we've got on hand, and it does still feel perfectly warm and wintry. I really love simmer pots. They're such a simple and accessible way to ease into the season, and they really let the whole house kind of fill up with that cozy, slow and soft December mood. And the extra humidity in the air is always welcome. Winters tend to get a bit dry where I'm from. Oh my gosh, it smells incredible. As you can see, we're getting our first big snow of the season. They're projecting it to be between 8 and 11 inches just for today. So I am hunkering down for the day I will be home. I thought it would be fun to put up the tree together, get it all decorated. I also have a witchy craft planned, and then there's a movie that I've really been wanting to watch. Obviously I can't play it on camera, but I can definitely talk about it and what I think about it after I've watched it. I'm really excited to get the tree up this year. I have been reworking a lot of my ornaments for the tree. Everything that was in this container used to be all shiny red and green plastic. There was also some that were like glittery. I'm not a big glitter fan. And pulling these out every year to put on the tree, I kind of just didn't care about them. I'm like, I don't care if we even put ornaments up. But after doing a lot of reworking, like this took me over a week to do. These took a lot longer than I anticipated. I really wanted to take the time to craft ornaments that I'm actually going to be excited about pulling out every year. And I think they just kind of overall fit the whole vibe of my house so much better than the shiny plastic and glitter did before. Not that there's anything wrong with shiny glittery ornaments, but I feel like putting my own energy and time and blood, sweat, and tears, no blood, but putting in that effort for these ornaments really kind of adds to the magic of the season. So I was really excited to work on these. I also did some of these little tiny stars out of books, which I thought were super fun. Or are they snowflakes? I don't really know, but I like them. I think they're cute, but I'm really not one to kind of just throw things away and get all new stuff. I very much like collecting and curating and personalizing and upcycling. So this was a really fun project for me to work on. And as I get these up on the tree, I'll kind of show you up close what I made and how I did it. So if you're interested in crafting your own ornaments or upcycling ornaments you already have, you'll at least have some ideas to get started. All that to be said, let's go ahead, put this tree up, and then we can dive into some crafting. Unfortunately, we have to have a plastic tree. As you know, we have a lot of cats who love climbing, and I fear that if we picked out a real tree, it would be bare in no time and the cats would be covered in sap. Not an ideal situation, so we opted to use a fake tree. We have had this one for a few years. We got it when we first moved into this house, and I won't lie, I feel like I was catfished by this tree. The photos online and on the side of the box looked vastly different from what I took out of the box, but we're rolling with it. I feel like all of the trees that look perfect out of the box are like $1,000 and they're all the viral TikTok trees, and that's not something I'm really interested in doing or getting, so we're rolling with this one. I plan to keep this tree around for years and years to come, and I really do see it as a part of our story with this home. And as differently as it turned out, I think it adds to the charm of the season and the curation of our Yuletide treasures. These ornaments turned out so surprisingly well. I painted the outside with acrylic paint, and to get this kind of velvety texture while the paint was wet, I added spoonfuls of baking soda over the top of the wet paint. Once the paint dries, brush off the excess baking soda and it leaves you with this gorgeous texture. These ornaments were actually made of napkin rings that I had gotten for a different project. I hot glued scraps from old thrifted books as well as some different holiday looking foliage, and that was it. For these ornaments, I did a coat of black acrylic paint. Once that dried, I did a layer of Rub and Buff in the shade Antique Gold to really give these a vintage, worn kind of look. These last ones used a lot of hot glue, covered the kind of oblong ones with a ripped up vintage book, and then the round ones were all done with yarn to kind of give it a crocheted beanie feel. There are still a few more ornaments that I need to work on for the tree, so maybe I will show that process in another Vlogmas video. The tree is done for now. There's still a few more ornaments that I have to make, but I'm really happy with how it's turning out. I like it way better than years past, although I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in the voiceover. I do feel like I was catfished by this tree, but it is what it is. It's here now. We're gonna work with it. The snow has not stopped this entire time I've been decorating, and I have some antsy dogs, so I need to go put on my snow boots, get bundled up, and shovel them a walkway so they can use the bathroom. I don't think I'm gonna film that part, but when I come back, we're gonna go ahead and do a little witchy project together while I watch a documentary. Stay tuned. I am crafting a protection charm to hang on my mantle. I have some fresh cedar and cinnamon, and this is for protection, cleansing, and warmth. I'm using the dried orange slice to invite light into the darkest stretch of the year. The old key is representing locking and guarding the threshold and keeping the home safe. And I am binding it all together with red yarn to seal in the protection, as well as tying these intentions to my home. This charm is great for keeping the winter shadows at bay. It's really meant to push back any heaviness that can creep in during the long nights, holding my home in a circle of warmth and light. I like to hang this on the mantle because it does feel like the heart of my home during this time of the year. We all gather around to sit and be cozy together, working on crafts or just enjoying each other's company. It is the next day. I had to go out and shovel again. I cannot believe how much snow we've gotten, which honestly is not unusual for the Chicagoland area, but we haven't had this much snow in a couple of years, so it's gonna take a little getting used to. While I was making that protection charm, I was watching a documentary called The Cursed Man, or A Cursed Man. I should find out which it is. And if you're not familiar with the premise, basically the documentarian is going around and searching for people to place place curses on him. I did find it to be an interesting documentary, however, I thought it left a lot to be desired, and it also was a lot shorter than I would have liked to see. Here's a warning for potential spoiler alerts. I don't feel like I'm gonna go too in depth in the movie, but I'm gonna say a few things, so maybe spoilers. It's about an hour and 10 minutes long, and it follows our main documentarian for 6 months. He's traveling to different locations looking for people to place curses on him in an attempt for him to see if magic and cursing is real. He also explores a lot of parapsychology, and he does ask the question of, am I feeling cursed because I know a curse has been put on me, or am I feeling cursed because the curse is working? I personally felt like in the movie he was conflating witchcraft to a bunch of different other practices. So the idea was presented that witchcraft was the same as voodoo or hoodoo or brujeria, and to me that's not the case. I think that witchcraft is its own entirely separate thing. All of these different systems are magical systems, but they're not all witchcraft. So I feel like if you're not a witch or someone in those practices watching this documentary, you're going to be very confused about what witchcraft actually is. I feel like there were a lot of things that he could have explored in a lot greater detail for the audience to understand a lot more about how curses, hexes, and things like that work, or just magic in general. They do kind of briefly touch on it a few times throughout the documentary, but I personally feel like he left a lot of information out. Even just watching some 20-minute videos on YouTube, you get a lot better of an idea. So it's definitely something that could have been explored a lot better and still stuck within that hour time frame. But I'm curious, have you watched A Cursed Man as a magical practitioner? I would love to know kind of what you think of the documentary. Again, there were things that I did like about it, but overall, would I recommend watching it? Probably not. I think there are a lot of YouTube videos that are free to watch instead of paying for a rental that you can learn a lot more about curses, about different cultures and practices. If you're curious, I think it was like $4 to rent it. I don't regret watching it, but I don't feel like I gained anything valuable from watching it. But I think I'm going to end this video here. I need to get started on next week's Vlogmas. Thank you so much for being here. If you made it to the end of the video, can you leave a little tree emoji to commemorate decorating my Yule/Christmas tree? I will see you guys very soon for the next video. Bye.